Jeeps, Shermans, Hellcats, and a host of other machines, these are the American vehicles that rolled into, fought through, and helped win World War II. From the firing line to the supply highway, every wheeled, tracked, and amphibious vehicle had a role to play. Here's a complete line-by-line rewording of that roster, preserving the original sequence and detail. We begin with tanks. M2 Light Tank. Prior to the full-scale conflict, the M2 acted as the United States learning platform for armored warfare. Early examples carried an unusual twin-turret arrangement. Though quickly outmoded by newer designs, the M2 provided the mechanical lessons that informed later American tanks. M3 Stuart. Known affectionately to British crews as Honey, the M3 Stuart was the first American tank to see combat in North Africa. Its 37mm main armament was light, but its outstanding speed and mechanical dependability made it an ideal reconnaissance tank and a beloved scout. M5 Stuart. An iterative improvement over the M3, the M5 Stuart introduced a sloped hull and twin Cadillac power plants. It ran quieter and cooler, and it remained a fast, effective reconnaissance platform throughout the war. M22 Locust. Created to be air deliverable, the M22 Locust was compact enough to fit inside heavy gliders. Its combat record was limited, but it represented an ambitious experiment to give airborne troops organic armored support. M3 Lee. An odd interim design, the M3 Lee featured a 75mm gun mounted in the hull and a 37mm in the turret. Its large silhouette and limited turret traverse were drawbacks, yet it supplied vital heavy firepower to the British 8th Army when heavier tanks were scarce. M4 Sherman. The emblem of American industrial production. The Sherman may not have been the most heavily armed or armored tank on the battlefield, but it was reliable, easily maintained, and produced in vast quantities, the backbone of Allied armored formations. Next, tank destroyers. M3 GMC. One of the earliest American attempts to field mobile anti-tank weapons, the M3 GMC placed a 75mm gun onto a half-track chassis. A makeshift answer to armored threats, it nevertheless managed to penetrate enemy vehicles in theaters like the Philippines and North Africa. M6 GMC. Nicknamed the Fargo, this light truck-mounted 37mm gun was nimble but underprotected and underpowered, soon relegated to training or infantry support duties as enemy armor improved. M10 Wolverine. Built on Sherman underpinnings and fitted with an open-top turret, the M10 used sloped armor and a 3-inch gun to seek and engage panzers. It was the most widely fielded American tank destroyer of the war. M18 Hellcat. Designed for speed above all else, the Hellcat could reach speeds around 50 miles per hour, making it the fastest tracked combat vehicle of the conflict. Its doctrine was hit and run, using velocity and maneuver to strike heavier tanks. M36 Jackson. When Allied forces encountered Tigers and Panthers, they needed heavier guns. Enter the M36. Armed with a potent 90mm cannon, the Jackson was the only American vehicle consistently capable of dispatching those heavy German tanks at range. Now self-propelled artillery, M7 Priest. Named for the pulpit-like ring mount on its turret, the M7 carried a 105mm howitzer on a tank chassis, allowing artillery support to move with armored units during rapid advances. M8 HMC Scott. By mounting a 75mm packed howitzer on a light chassis, the M8 delivered short-range indirect fire that could blast enemy bunkers and machine gun positions, helping infantry close with the enemy. M12 GMC. Dubbed King Kong for its heavy punch, the M12 mounted a 155mm gun on an older chassis. It was intended for long-range destruction and was famously used against hardened positions such as the Siegfried Line. M40 GMC. Entering service later in the war, the M40 succeeded the M12. It paired the powerful long-tom 155mm gun with a broader, more modern chassis derived from late-model Shermans for improved stability and firing performance. M43 HMC. The larger sibling in the family, the M43 replaced the 155mm with a huge 8-inch howitzer, delivering enormous destructive potential for smashing fortifications during the final Allied drives. M4 105mm assault gun. Not a tank destroyer, but a demolition tool. Fitting a 105mm howitzer into a Sherman turret gave commanders a direct fire, high explosive instrument for knocking out bunkers and fortifications at close quarters. Armored cars and scout vehicles come next. M3 Scout Car. Known as the White Scout Car, this wheeled armored vehicle was a favorite of early war commanders, including General Patton. Armored and dependable, often armed with multiple machine guns, it served as frontline reconnaissance until half-tracks replaced many of its roles. M8 Greyhound. Fast, quiet, and lethal against infantry, the Greyhound was a 6x6 armored car serving as the cavalry's eyes and ears. It raced ahead of formations to detect the enemy, then melted back into the lines. M20, essentially a Greyhound minus its turret, the M20 functioned as an armored utility car, transporting officers, carrying cargo, and ferrying troops safely through contested areas under its light armor. Half-tracks, the hybrid workhorses. M2 half-track. Shorter than the most famous models, the M2 primarily hauled artillery and ammunition, helping gun batteries to move across terrain where ordinary trucks would bog down. M3 half-track. The definitive U.S. armored personnel carrier of WWII. Combining front wheels and rear tracks, the M3 carried infantry into battle while providing protection from splinters and small arms fire. M5 half-track. Visually close to the M3, the M5 was produced by International Harvester largely for Lend-Lease programs. It employed a different engine and slightly different fenders, but performed similar roles with British, Canadian, and Soviet forces. M9 half-track. Also an International Harvester product, the M9 was a utility half-track exported widely to Allied nations, demonstrating American industry's capacity to equip many armies. Amphibious and specialty amphibian vehicles. M29 Weasel. Originally conceived for a covert operation in snowy Norway, the Weasel was a fully tracked, amphibious cargo carrier. It could traverse deep mud, snow, and swampy ground that defeated other vehicles. LVT-1 Alligator. The first in the landing vehicle track series, the LVT-1 used paddle-like track treads to propel itself in water and climb onto beaches, a pivotal tool for the Pacific Island hopping campaign. The LVT-2 Water Buffalo. An improved Alligator with better suspension for solid ground. It became a marine staple for hauling men and supplies from ship to shore under fire. LVT-4. A significant evolution. Moving the engine forward allowed a large rear ramp, enabling troops and jeeps to disembark directly onto beaches rather than clambering over high sides. LVT-A1. An Amtrak armed with a 37mm turret from a light tank. This variant turned the LVT into an amphibious tank hunter to support initial landing waves. LVT-A4. Recognizing the need for heavier firepower ashore, the A4 replaced the small anti-tank armament with a 75mm howitzer turret, operating as floating direct fire artillery against beach defenses. DUKW Duck. Pronounced Duck, this six-wheel drive vehicle in a boat hull was a logistics marvel. It ferried supplies from ship to shore and onward inland without unloading, revolutionizing supply flows. Trucks and prime movers. Willys MB/Ford GPW, the Jeep. General Eisenhower reportedly counted the Jeep among the 3 tools that won the war. Small, rugged, and unbelievably capable, it became the ubiquitous symbol of Allied mobility and liberation. Dodge WC Series, the Beep or Big Jeep. These 3/4-ton trucks filled roles as weapons carriers, ambulances, and command cars. The step up when a Jeep was too small. Chevrolet G506, the 1-ton Chevy. Often overshadowed by larger transports, the G506 was crucial for hauling troops and towing guns, even seeing service through Lend-Lease on the Eastern Front. GMC CCKW, the famed Deuce and a Half. The backbone of logistical networks like the Red Ball Express, hundreds of thousands of these trucks kept men, fuel, and ammunition moving across liberated Europe. M4 high-speed tractor. When heavy artillery was beyond the reach of ordinary trucks, the M4 tractor towed guns and heavy anti-aircraft pieces over the worst terrain. Diamond T980/981. The heavyweight recovery and transporter, this massive 12-ton truck hauled tank transporter trailers and moved armor or recovered equipment without overstressing the tank's own drive systems. Engineering and recovery vehicles. M32 TRV, tank recovery vehicle. A Sherman derivative with a fixed turret and a powerful crane, the M32 worked on the front lines to winch damaged tanks free and tow them back to repair points. M1 Heavy Wrecker. A road worker's behemoth equipped with heavy cranes and winches, the M1 could lift engines, right overturned vehicles, and clear blocked routes to keep convoys moving. liaison and staff transport. Harley-Davidson LLA Liberator. Adapted for wartime needs with scabbards for submachine guns and blackout lamps, these motorcycles carried couriers and military police through chaotic combat zones. Indian 741. While Harleys were iconic, the Indian 741 was also produced in large numbers and sent to Commonwealth forces, offering a lighter, simpler motorcycle for dispatch duties. Ford Staff Car. Based on civilian sedans but militarized and painted in drab olive, the Ford Staff Car conveyed officers on comfortable but unarmored journeys between headquarters. Chevrolet Staff Car. Competing with Ford, the Chevrolet Staff Car, a militarized Master Deluxe, transported VIPs and commanders around safer sectors and provided a touch of civilian familiarity amidst wartime machinery. This completes the walkthrough. Every vehicle named above, from nimble scouts and armored personnel carriers to heavy artillery tractors and amphibious assault craft, describes the diversity of America's mechanized effort in World War II. Each model fulfilled a specific tactical, logistical, or support role that, together, enabled the Allied victory.